Coming up, a week of sudden twists and dramatic turns. The legal momentum shifts to Simpson, but more evidence emerges of a hero's dark side.
O.J. Simpson, I think you know his record. Could you just send somebody over here?
It was one giant leap for American soccer as the World Cup hosts join in the flag-waving frenzy. The ultimate big man captures his ultimate prize, and his city sheds the choker's label, while everyone cracks in a playoff pressure cooker before a young lion delivers on the promise of greatness. She has delivered greatness for 2 decades. Can Martina summon more magic in her farewell fortnight?
If you had told me in 1980 I was still going to play in 94, I'd say, hey, what drugs did you take this morning? There's no way.
There is no magic left from this once great champion and no respect from the judges. We'll focus on the fortunes of these famous faces and more next on Sports Weekly.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines.
Good morning. I'm Dick Schaff, and welcome to Sunday Sports Day, June 26, 1994. 2.5 hours of news, views, reviews, and previews, highlights and sidelights, cheers and jeers. Finally, hockey and basketball are behind us, at least for a month or two, but baseball still has to share the spotlight with the World Cup and with O.J. Simpson. Chris Fowler is ready to guide us through our opening hour, Sports Weekly. And Chris, are you beginning to feel suffocated by the coverage of the Simpson case? As far as I could tell, there was no news in the case yesterday, yet every network and every newspaper ran a news story about the case. Is the public's appetite for this story insatiable, or is it our appetite to lure the public that's insatiable?
Oh, good morning, Dick. I think yes to both. I think, first of all, the media has a financial interest in keeping this story on the front burner. But yes, there is public interest. I think we live in a tabloid society. But the other fast-developing story, I think, is the World Cup. It was a good week for big dreamers and a bad week for soccer cynics. The know-nothing cynics who said Americans would ignore the invasion by the soccer world, and also the know-it-all cynics who wrote off the U.S. team before it even took the field. Now, the TV ratings are good, much better than baseball so far, even on the afternoon games not involving the American team. So, hey, cynics, relax, enjoy the show. You don't have to love soccer forever. I mean, you don't follow track, much less field, in non-Olympic years. But when the Olympics arrive, you do care about the 100 meters. Dick, I really think this is kind of like a NCAA tournament for the whole world. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's a major event, obviously, and people always like to go to a major event. I mean, you get plenty of people who show up at an NCAA Final Four who can't get tickets to the games. And this is an event, and when you get 72,000 out to see Morocco play Saudi Arabia, you know you're not going there because they want to see the absolute best in the game.
I don't think this is a revolution for American soccer, but people should just enjoy it while it lasts. A lot more about the World Cup coming up, but now let's get to baseball. The duel of sluggers took a backseat in Seattle last night. For once, Griffey Jr. versus Frank Thomas was not the story in the M's White Sox game, not when Jack McDowell, Cy Young winner, faced the man who said that in the offseason he deserved the award, Randy Johnson. Two tall guys really kept the two sluggers in check. Frank Thomas trying to give McDowell an early lead, but waves at the Johnson fastball. How about Jr.? His first bat against Blackjack, waves at the pitch in the dirt. Thomas's second time up. Caught looking to the inside fastball. Griffey, not faring much better. Can't catch up to the high heat, and Thomas, one more K. 0 for 4 with 3 Ks. Johnson struck out 12. Griffey came the closest to getting a hit, but Tim Raines draws a beat and makes the catch. Griffey 0 for 4 with a pair of strikeouts. The man with the power last night, Ron Karkovice in the 5th. He takes Johnson deep. The solo shot puts the White Sox up 2-zip. They hold on for a 2-1 victory. Blackjack improves to 4-7. He had 6 Ks. He's 8-1 lifetime against Seattle. The 7-game winning streak for Johnson is over. Nobody wanted to talk much about their personal duel after the game. Why have the M's dropped 3 straight in this series? They are 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position. The Rangers and Angels at the Big A. Scary moment in the 6th. Mike Butcher winds up and hits Rusty Greer in the head. He would be able to leave the game under his own power. He suffered a concussion. Taken to the hospital for precautionary x-rays. 6-5 Rangers in the 6th. Runner on second. Brown delivers. Salmon base hit. Spike Owen heads home. Juan Gonzalez, as we get the ball close up there, unleashes the throw. Pudge Rodriguez bobbles the throw, but he does such a great job of blocking the plate that Spike Owen is pinned, and he's out. 7-6 in the 8th. Carpenter to Chili Davis. Should be a double play, but the Kangaroo Hop gets away. 2-run score. The Angels tack on 4 more. They win at 12-7. Rex Hudler and Jack Snow each homered. Palmer and Clark homered, but the Rangers lose for the 9th time in 11 games. Kevin Kennedy says each loss is a little tougher to take. The Texas lead is still 2.5 over California and Seattle. National League, the Dodgers said that if they didn't respond with a vengeance, then something was wrong. Brett Butler said everybody in the L.A. clubhouse was mad at himself after Friday's 16-4 humiliation when Jeff Bagwell homered 3 times for Houston. Would they respond last night? Well, 2-1 in the 7th. Mike Piazza facing Brian Williams. How's this for a response? 2-run shot, 16th for Piazza. Dodgers win 4-2. Estacio, strong outing, 8 2/3 for the win. Marlins and Expos, bottom of the 1st. Chuck Carr will run faster than Charlie Huff pitches. Marquise Grissom with the looping liner right there. Carr robs him. Bottom of the 2nd, 3-0 Montreal. Moises Alou takes Huff out, a 2-run job. 14th for Alou. Expos win it 7-3. Alou went 4 for 4 lifetime against Huff. Giants and Rockies. Solomon Torres back from his walk on the wild side. Still wild. He beans Charlie Hayes, who suffered a fractured cheekbone. Don Baylor had to restrain Hayes, but then he said Torres should go back to Double-A ball and learn how to throw strikes. Bottom of the 6th, Torres, though, makes the great catch in the sensitive area on the carom right there. 2-2 tie in the 7th. Howard Johnson unties the ball game, unloading to a very deep part of Mile High Stadium. The Rockies hold on when at 6-4. Torres falls to 2-7 on the season. Other games, Bobby Munoz smashed his first career homer, won his 4th straight game as the Phillies romped, and Joey Hamilton baffled the Reds for his first career shutout, snapping Cincy's win streak. Zane Smith tossed a 4-hitter through 8. Orlando Merced belted a 3-run homer, and the Cubs rookie Kevin Foster took a no-hitter to the 7th and beat the Cardinals. Later on, we'll deliver the AL wrap-up. Boxing, Roberto Duran says, look at his face, then look at Vinny Pazienza's face and tell him who won their fight last night in Las Vegas. Unfortunately for the 43-year-old Hands of Stone, who's been boxing since the Stone Age, the amount of bloodshed does not dictate the judge's decision. You recall, these guys had talked trash all week. They love each other like hermanos. 5th round, Pazienza in trouble. Duran with the combination. Down goes Vinny. He's up quickly. Surprisingly, the judges scored the 5th round even despite the knockdown. Pazienza got stronger. Duran seemed to fade as the fight went on. A unanimous decision, 117-113, 117-112 on 2 cards for Pazienza. Duran believes he was robbed. What a surprise. He says he will not retire yet. It was Pazienza's 7th win since returning from a broken neck in 1991. We are just getting started on the big Sunday brunch here. As you might guess, we'll have plenty on the latest developments in the O.J. Simpson story. Plus, the Dream finally gets his ring. And your World Cup fix for a supposedly aging, overweight, out-of-shape former star. Aradana looks pretty good so far.
In business, there never seems to be enough of it. And the last thing you can afford to do is run out of it. Time. So rest assured, Delta Airlines will help you make the most of it. With over 4,900 flights a day to over 300 cities around the world. And best of all, we'll make sure you arrive relaxed and refreshed with plenty of time to spare. Delta Airlines.
I need coffee.
Coffee. It's Jerry. He runs the Super 8 motel. He's like all their people, friendly and helpful. Can't be a relative.
Super 8, super people, super prices at over 1,000 locations nationwide.
Hello, I'm hypnotizing you to see what dream prizes you can win in Subway's Dream Game.
Look, it's cash to start your own business. Or win delicious Subway food. Just buy a 22 or 32-ounce soft drink and peel off the sticker.
So wake up and play Subway's Dream Game.
I'm an inventor of one of the world's strongest fibers, Kevlar. I started the work in 1964. It proved to be a time of great joy, of frustration. We called it Fiber B. Kevlar is 5 times as strong as steel. It's used in ski, racing, in helmets, golf, tennis rackets, bullet-resistant vests. I'm still working for DuPont. Every day is a new learning experience.
Did I train enough in the preseason? Did I lift enough? Yeah, I think so.
All men are created equal. Some just buy their preseasons at Foot Locker.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
Wimbledon has the day off yesterday. Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario advanced. She pulled a tricep muscle. She should be fine. Martina marches on. She faces Elena Sukova next. Mary Jo Fernandez, the 11th seed, is knocked out. On the men's side, no problems for Pete Sampras. He next faces Daniel Vacek. Boris Becker's next match, Andrei Medvedev. Ivanisevic has Alexander Volkov on Monday. Here's a summary of the early exits. Edberg's worst Wimbledon in a decade. Courier and Stieck hadn't been sent home this soon since '89, their first Wimbledon, and Steffi had never, ever lost her opening match. Now to World Cup. There are many who believe that the future of the world's favorite sport belongs to Africa. Cameroon broke through in World Cup '90, but Nigeria's Super Eagles carry the hopes of the continent this time. Nigeria is already world champion in under-17 soccer, but yesterday was not a youth match. It was powerful Argentina, but in the 9th minute, the Nigerians strike first. Rashidi Yekini to Samson Siasia, and he knocks it through. 1-0 Argentina trails, but in the 29th minute, Gabriel Batistuta. And then Claudio Canigia there for the rebound. The 1,500th goal in World Cup history ties it at 1. Maradona, the pass. Canigia makes no mistake, bending the shot up beautifully into the corner. The Nigerians play rough, whistled for a whopping 33 fouls. With their second win, Argentina all but clinches first place in the group. Nigeria will need to beat Greece to advance Thursday. A tie should also be good enough to get them through. Belgium clinched a second-round berth by beating their hostile neighbors from Holland. Next for the Belgians, Saudi Arabia, which picked up its first ever World Cup win, beating Morocco. The Dutch need a point in their Wednesday match with Morocco, or they would be shockingly a first-round loser. ESPN's coverage continues. Greece and Bulgaria both badly in need of their first ever win. And later in SportsCenter, we'll preview the U.S.-Romania game from the Rose Bowl, plus a profile of goalkeeper supreme Tony Meola. Also coming up, what is Tanya Harding up to? She's hanging out with someone known as the American Love Machine. And we're not talking Jeff Gillooly.
It's Beer City Days at Stu Hansen's Dodge City. Save big on the biggest selection of America's hottest new Dodge cars, trucks, and vans in the Midwest. Big selection means you save big. Stop in and test drive any new vehicle and receive your choice of a $5 gift certificate to Zim's Food and Spirits or a general admission and laser matinee ticket to the Science Center of Iowa during Beer City Days, going on now at Stu Hansen's Dodge City under the big stars and stripes.
We all want to protect our homes from intruders, but who can you call? Call the pest control company that has grown to be Des Moines' largest, Able Pest Management. Your Able technician will diagnose treatment and, using state-of-the-art equipment, eradicate pests safely and efficiently. Find out why satisfied customers have made us Des Moines' largest. Trust the professionals at Able Pest Management. Call 289-1833.
Understand the World Cup. You have to understand the stature of the men who are going to walk on that field. To the rest of the world, they're bigger than captains of industry, presidents of countries, third world fascist dictators, award-winning actors, the front fender of an old Cadillac. They're even bigger than rock stars. They're not even rock stars. No, they're bigger than that. They're like gods. Yeah, they're like gods. Rock stars, but they're even bigger than that. But I can't think of anything bigger than gods, rock stars! It's just something you have to see to understand!
I like World Cup, but not as much as that guy. Well, Harry's okay after an unscheduled nap, while the Buckeyes got off with just a wrist slap. A former Isles player was named new bench jockey, one of 2 off-season moves this week in hockey. Tanya resurfaced in a midget wrestling charade. A tense open playoff left 3 men's nerves frayed. Those stories are just a few of the items in Steve Levy's Week in Review.
On the same course where Palmer and Nicklaus fought a playoff battle 32 years ago, the U.S. Open at Oakmont once again needed an extra round, plus to decide a champion. On Monday, South African Ernie Els overcame a triple bogey on the second hole to force sudden death. And when American Lauren Roberts lit the cup on the 11th,
far away.
Els took advantage.
Ernie Els is the new champion.
Els becomes only the 4th foreign player to win the Open since 1927.
We were very nervous. I mean, you know, it's not every day you're playing in a US Open playoff, and we were kind of nervous, all 3 of us, I think.
Playoffs of another kind may be over, but some teams were very busy this week. The New York Islanders announced Lauren Henning will replace Al Arbor as head coach. Henning once played for Arbor, who retired at the end of the season. Also on the ice, the Philadelphia Flyers chose Terry Murray to fill their coaching vacancy. Murray will be the 4th head coach in the last 2.5 years for Philadelphia. And P.J. Carlesimo says goodbye to Seton Hall and hello to the NBA. Carlesimo signs a 5-year deal to coach the Portland Trail Blazers. Carlesimo will fill the vacancy left by Rick Adelman, who was fired last month.
The biggest difference, I'm dealing with men now. I always use the term kids, and people would sometimes be critical of me and say they're not kids. They are kids.
To the college ranks, where 2 men's basketball programs received the NCAA slap this week for recruiting violations. Ohio State and Wake Forest handed 1-year probations. They will both lose 1 scholarship, must restrict their recruiting. Both will be able, however, to play on TV and in postseason tournaments. Former Chicago Bears coach Mike Ditka was taken to the hospital on Tuesday with chest pains. He was released later in the week. In 1988, Ditka suffered a mild heart attack. The same season, he coached the Bears to the NFC title game. A familiar microphone was left off Thursday after Chicago Cubs announcer Harry Carey was hospitalized. Carey fell on a flight of steps at Joe Robbie Stadium before the Cubs-Marlins game, suffering cuts and bruises on his face. Carey reportedly became lightheaded from the heat. And finally, she's back. And if you thought Tanya Harding ran with a motley crew before, how about professional midget wrestlers?
It's exciting to be here and to be part of this group of wonderful people, wonderful wrestlers, and great athletes. And I just want to thank them.
Harding played celebrity manager on Wednesday for the wrestler known as the American Love Machine. The event was part of a pro wrestling exhibition in Vancouver, Washington.
Good to see she's still keeping classy company. Coming up later, the Dream fulfills his dream. We'll look back at Hakeem Olajuwon's crowning moment and the pre-trial posturing in California versus O.J. Simpson. Plus, the moments that made for a memorable opening week of World Cup '94. Oh, yes, more Copa Mundial fix coming up.
Dave Thomas is thinking about the perfect cheese for Wendy's new chicken sandwich.
So I'm thinking mozzarella. Really? My first choice would be Munster.
It had to have just the right flavor.
How about Camembert? Over mozzarella? No way.
Dave,
think Gouda.
And it had to be delicious. Introducing Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme. A whole breast filet cooked golden brown. Mozzarella and a creamy Parmesan sauce.
Still thinking Gouda? Not anymore.
There's a place near you where the mountain climbers never touch the ground, where the bodies are made of iron and the bikes of titanium alloy. It's Performance Bicycle Shop with over 6,000 square feet of high-tech cycling gear. But if you go, bring a stump-jumping spirit and your Visa card. Because at Performance, they take cycling to the extreme, but they don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You have seen the U.S. Senior Open, and what have you learned? Try to remember. Nicklaus's Secret of the Green, Palmer's Path out of the Trap, Trevino's Answer to the Blue, Loretti's Way through the Chasm and the Labyrinth of Your Mind. Remember, we all want the lesson. That's why we watch the U.S. Senior Open. Let ESPN show us the way. Watch the U.S. Senior Open Thursday and Friday on ESPN.
The World Cup's opening round is 2/3 complete. So far, attacking is in, scoring is up, and the cards, both red and yellow, are being waved all over the place. In just a week, American and African soccer has gained huge credibility. Is it too soon to start making comparisons to the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team? Well, it looked grim in the early going until Eric Winalda turned things around. This free kick late in the first half against Switzerland salvaged a tie. Then against Colombia, one of the world's top teams, pre-tournament favorites, U.S. gets some lucky bounces. The ball kept out of the net early. And then up 1-0, Tab Ramos finds Ernie Stewart, who pushes it past the Colombian keeper. Team USA with a stunning 2-1 victory. Marcelo Balboa, almost one of the most memorable goals in World Cup history. The bicycle sails just wide. Italy, it was gloomy after a first-round loss to Ireland. It is life and death in that country, and it looked even gloomier. The handball here by Gianluca Pagliuca, the red card in the match against Norway that was critical, and then Baggio was taken off. The Italians playing a man down, and then it all turns around right there. The header by Dino Baggio. Italy wins 1-0. Maradona, was he through? I don't think so. He has been the comeback kid of this World Cup, drilling the goal right there. Cameroon's players dancing despite threatening a strike for not being paid, but the indomitable Lions did not look indomitable against brilliant Brazil. Romario went alone. Brazil wins 3-0. Lots of workouts for the vocal cords.
The end of the first round of the World Cup soccer competition is approaching, and interest in the game seems to be growing. For instance, Irish Americans, Italian Americans, and Hispanic Americans all seem to be stirred by the division in which Mexico beat Ireland, which beat Italy, which beat Norway, which beat Mexico. And the success of the American team has both surprised and delighted patriots. Is the game going to catch on here? That's the subject of our face-off today between Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe and Tony Kornheiser of the Washington Post, and Ryan leads off.
It's going to go, Tony, and I'll tell you why it's going to go. It's not 1975, it's not 1980, it's not even 1990. It's 1994. Marketing. They're going to put this thing out there so that they're going to make you especially, of all people on this earth, guilt-ridden. You are going to feel bad because your kid's going to say, Daddy, I want to go to the soccer game. They're going to be bombarded with all kinds of things that are going to make them want to go to the game. You're going to take them to the game.
The best thing that can happen would be if America wins it all, like the Miracle on Ice in Lake Placid, and even in hockey, which was is a cult sport now, but bigger than soccer. Hockey couldn't get a TV contract. Hockey couldn't even make it right then and there out of the box with that boost, and neither can soccer. Cult sport status is the best it'll ever do in America.
The mothers of America are going to get rid of football. And in about 25 years, the only places, I'm telling you right now, only in the South and certain pockets of America, Ohio,
I'm glad you've signed up for now.
They're getting rid of football. If the kids are not going to be playing football, they're going to be playing soccer.
It's not an American sport. We didn't invent it. You don't use your hands. We're a culture that dives on the floor for loose balls. We recover fumbles. Soccer doesn't have any of that. And all these kids playing it, they played it for the last 20 years. And what happens when they get to be teenagers, they say, would you take me to the football game, Dad? Would you take me to the baseball game? Boston, where you live, wall-to-wall yuppies at Fenway Park. Not soccer. They don't put their money down.
Thank you, Tony. Did you hit a lot of headers in your youth? Never mind. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Bob. Armin Katane of ABC News will join Ryan and Kornheiser on the Sports Reporters, which is coming up on the hour. Among today's topics, O.J. Simpson, how badly do we spoil our superstars? Akeem Olajuwon, an unspoiled superstar. And the Cleveland Indians, new life in a new park.
He's not just the president, he's also a client. Court TV continues. We'll analyze the week's surprising moves in the O.J. Simpson case.
When it comes to your financial future, Fortis can help protect you and those you love. Fortis, a worldwide financial services organization, $100 billion strong. A powerful choice for mutual funds, life and health insurance, employee benefits. A name you can trust around the world and right in your own backyard. Fortis, solid answers for a changing world.
Dear Midas, back in the 70s, I purchased the Midas muffler for my 51 Ford wagon, given to me by my father. When the muffler finally wore out, your mechanic, Miguel Serna, said,
"Well, the warranty's still good."
To my amazement, I was given a brand new muffler at no cost. I plan on keeping my family heirloom for many years. See you folks next time. Sincerely, James Van Dolphin.
Live Friday night at 8:30 Eastern. Don't miss a USBA Lightweight Championship. Top Rank Boxing on ESPN.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly. And brought to you in part by Super 8 Motels. With over 1,000 locations nationwide, life's great at Super 8. Plus, new Easy Deck Wash from Armor All. We took the knowledge of Armor All and applied it to your home.
Well, the twists and turns just kept coming this week in the O.J. Simpson case as the ravenous media machine, us included, gobbled up fresh morsels and some not so fresh. An 8-month-old 911 tape shed poor light on Simpson, then backfired. Friends jumped to Simpson's defense, and so did a dream team of attorneys. Jack Edwards chronicles the convoluted case's first week.
Orenthal James Simpson appeared at his arraignment on Monday for 2 counts of first-degree murder under special circumstances. Simpson, under suicide watch, was not allowed to wear a tie, belt, or shoelaces.
Mr. Simpson, do you understand the charges as I read them to you?
Yes.
And have you discussed those charges with your lawyer, sir?
Yes.
At this time, do you wish to enter a plea guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
We have to have enough evidence to convict him before we file the case. The fact that the case has been filed means that we do have sufficient evidence to convict him and prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
But at the compliance hearing on Wednesday, Simpson's attorney Robert Shapiro asked about a reported key piece of evidence that was not presented.
If there is a ski mask with blood stains, we would like to be able to examine that today.
Ms. Clark.
Mr. Shapiro is aware of the evidence that was collected from the crime scene and from the home of the defendant. And I think that his reference to a ski mask has nothing to do with anything that's been turned over to him by the people, but he is in possession of a complete list of the evidence that has been seized. If it is not in what has been produced to him, then we do not have anything like that.
So are you saying that there is no ski mask?
There is no ski mask.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. That clarifies the matter.
However, in a hearing on Friday, the prosecution did say that a knit cap had been recovered at the scene of the crime. Police continue their search for the murder weapon. Meanwhile, an American Airlines flight attendant reportedly told police that Simpson kept a bag over his hand the entire flight from L.A. to Chicago. A passenger on the plane disputed that account.
It bothers me that someone could actually stand up and say something that they couldn't have actually seen when they say most of the flight he had his hand in his bag. I mean, that is just an absolute false statement.
I got to believe if he says he's innocent, he's not guilty, he's not. I will continue to believe that. The O.J. Simpson that I know and love is one of the nicest and kindest men I've ever been associated with. A true team player. And, you know, we're all praying for him.
I will stay behind him until he is proven guilty, and I will still love him after that.
He would never, if he did it, deny it. It's that simple.
Did he say it to you?
That he didn't do it? Oh, yeah.
Late Wednesday, police released a 911 call that Nicole Brown Simpson made last October.
911 emergency.
Can you get someone over here now to 325 Gretna Green? He's back. Please.
Well, okay, what does he look like?
He's O.J. Simpson. I think you know his record. Could you just send somebody over here?
Okay, just stay on the line.
I don't want to stay on the line. He's going to beat the shit out of me.
Wait a minute, just stay on the line so we can know what's going on until the police get there, okay? Okay, Nicole?
Uh-huh. Could you just please, OJ, could you please leave? Please leave. The kids are right at the time. Please.
Has this happened before or no?
Many times.
Los Angeles County District Attorney Gil Garcetti criticized the release of the 911 call by the L.A. City Attorney, and he said no more evidence would be made public before the trial.
I am doing this in the interest of justice. I want to assure everyone that not only in fact is there going to be a fair trial, both for Mr. Simpson and the people, but there will indeed be the perception that this is going to be handled fairly and properly.
Friday, the release of the 911 tapes had become the most powerful development in the case thus far. Judge Cecil Mills ruled that the tapes and other media information may have influenced the grand jury.
And in the interests of fairness and justice to all involved, the court has ordered recusal of the 1993-94 grand jury from further consideration of this matter.
The prosecution will now have to present its case in a preliminary hearing on Thursday.
Orenthal James Simpson is the most celebrated defendant in a murder case in this nation's history, certainly in this century. But the drama surrounding this case has exceeded anything anyone could have imagined. Joining me, criminal defense attorney Don Wager. And Don, Robert Shapiro put it best when he said, to have a grand jury recused is unprecedented and may have never happened before.
I'm sure it hasn't. At 1:30 on Friday, Cecil Mills, the presiding judge in L.A. County, comes out in front of a large crowd and says the grand jury legally cannot hear this case anymore. What an astounding development.
About a week ago at this time, Gil Garcetti was doing national television interviews. He seemed like he had O.J. Simpson exactly where he wanted him, but a lot has happened since.
Well, he did have him where he wanted him. But then the minute they got into court, things started to go bad for Gil Garcetti, especially with the 911 calls.
As the defense attorney, though, Robert Shapiro didn't have many setbacks at all this week.
He went to the top of the mountain, and that's where he is now.
As for the preliminary hearing on Thursday, what exactly do you expect, or can you expect anything?
Well, I think the prosecution is going to counter now with as much bloody evidence as they can. If you can watch this, anybody can watch this hearing, it's going to be a war.
We have a celebrated defendant. Now, we also have a celebrated legal defense team, including Alan Dershowitz and F. Lee Bailey. What impact might they have?
This all-star cast is going to give Shapiro every kind of advice he needs, from trial tactics to brilliant legal work on paper. This is almost an unbeatable staff, but don't count out the L.A. County DA's office. It's a great group of lawyers.
Will O.J. Simpson find a jury? Will a jury be found in this case that can deliver a fair verdict based on what's gone on?
I hope they can, but it's going to be very difficult in view of all the prejudicial things that have been out in this case.
Certainly a week of unpredictability. We don't expect any different next week. That's it from here. Now back to SportsCenter.
Forget the all-star cast. Before this thing is done, we will know one thing. Don Wager will be the Perry Mason of the 90s. Later on, SportsCenter goes after the answer. Who is the real O.J. Simpson? There's a dramatic difference of opinion. In the NBA, it's unanimous, though. The Rockets rule. Akeem is the king. We'll hear from the man who helped deliver Houston its first big trophy.
In business, there never seems to be enough of it. And the last thing you can afford to do is run out of it. Time. So rest assured, Delta Airlines will help you make the most of it. With over 4,900 flights a day to over 300 cities around the world. And best of all, we'll make sure you arrive relaxed and refreshed with plenty of time to spare. Delta Airlines.
Hey, Mom, I just got here. No, Super 8 isn't mad I'm late. I've got their VIP card. They'll hold my room and give me a 10% discount. What are you going to do for me?
With the VIP card, guarantee your room and save 10% at all Super 8s nationwide.
Oh, wow, this is excellent.
New from Armorall.
Oh, cool.
It's Easy Deck Wash, Wood Restorer.
Looks like a brand new fence, golly.
It's easy, it's fast, it's amazing. But then again, it's from Armor All.
I thought the gray color was the natural color of the wood.
New Easy Deck Wash. We took the knowledge of Armor All and applied it to your home.
You can project light in any direction, but unless it's focused, you can't see clearly. That's why Infinity employed special projector beam headlights for the J30 to safely focus light where you need it. The J also has dual airbags, ABS, and seatbelt pretensioners, but you're less likely to need them if you see the light.
Now, for a limited time, lease one of the world's most advanced automobiles with no down payment.
The Orioles and the Blue Jays tonight at 8 Eastern, only on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
If the basketball season's going to go this late every year, we're all going to have to readjust our sundials to read first summer solstice, then NBA Finals. Did this extra long season have something to do with global warming? If so, how come Starks was suddenly colder than ice Wednesday night? Everybody's happy the season is finally over, especially this guy down in Houston who feels better than if he had struck oil. And I know if he could, Hakeem would be grinning from cheekbone to cheekbone. But hey, everybody's just overtired. In fact, Patrick had so many bags under his eyes, they had to send his head through the x-ray machine. Next time Letterman sends Sirajul and Mujibur to the finals for good luck, maybe the Knicks ought to take it one step further. Suit 'em up.
Yeah, that was the Rockets parading the championship trophy through the streets of Houston. It wasn't that long ago, though, that the rocket ship was ready to run aground, mainly because an insulted Hakeem wanted out. Thankfully for Houstonians, it was the Rockets ownership team that got out of town and Rudy T who stepped in, and everybody else lived happily ever after. Bob Lee fills in the details in Hakeem's long-awaited fairy tale.
It was a crowning moment, a defining moment, establishing Hakeem Olajuwon as the league's best player. It very easily might not have happened. This thin Nigerian freshman, an unknown, blossomed into a collegiate star, drafted ahead of Michael Jordan, who would win 3 titles and retire before Olajuwon got his ring. But Hakeem already had one chance, more than most players get. The Rockets lost in the '86 finals. Olajuwon grew into an all-star fixture, a dominant center, a power player on the NBA chessboard, respected for a legendary work ethic. But 52 regular season victories 3 years ago led to a first-round playoff elimination. The next year, Olajuwon's frustration boiled over. Frustration with the Rockets' management, his contract, and not being a title contender. The team suspended him, saying Olajuwon was faking a leg injury. It got very ugly.
If I have a choice, I will not play here. My integrity and my pride, I would hate to continue to deal with this kind of organization. I've been playing there for 9 years now. I think it's time for me to change.
Olajuwon worked on increasing his repertoire of moves to make himself more marketable. He wanted out. Then the atmosphere changed. There was new ownership, and then Rudy Tomjanovich as the coach.
I knew that if Hakeem was going to be in camp, and I said this all during the summer, that if he was going to be with us, that there was going to be no doubt in my mind that he was going to compete 110%, and I never questioned that in him.
A great individual player became the centerpiece of a champion contender, passing off the double team, trusting his backcourt, elevating his game even further.
He's the best player in the world. He's like he's the closest thing you'll ever find to Michael Jordan.
Hakeem, the last 2 seasons, has played with a certain peace within himself. He's playing hard every night to an unbelievable level. The job that he does game after game after game is incredible.
The improvement of his game most dramatic in the postseason, where he has added more than 10 points per game to his average in the last 4 playoffs, and he has been the team's top scorer in 75% of their playoff games since he joined the league. A dignified court presence, his skills are now crowned with the ring he has sought for 10 years.
There's a very, very good side to him that shows him to be a sensitive, concerned human being, and sometime in the world of sports, that side is somehow not exposed because it's not deemed to be macho enough.
There has been a lot of pressure, you know, for me personally to win a championship because with all the reporters, that is the first question. Will you feel if you don't win a championship that your career will be successful or complete? So now at least I can answer your question.
And up next on the show, we'll fill in the rest of yesterday's American League Baseball story. Oh, more definitely thriller for the Red Sox.
We live by one rule at Carl Chevrolet Geo. It's a basic axiom that we've never forgotten, and we think will help us to continue our growth. You, our customer, is why we exist. We simply believe in satisfying you, and we do it day in and day out, with competitive pricing, selection, service, financing, and salespeople that help you. And we're easy to find.
Ankeny, exit 90 off I-35. Carl Chevrolet Geo.
This 4th of July weekend, after the family picnic, after you go to the park, it's time for the real fireworks.
Let the Des Moines Grand Prix spark up your 4th of July celebration. 1 o'clock on Cable Channel 12 in Des Moines and on the Iowa Cable Network. Catch Des Moines Grand Prix racing action. It's the feature Trans Am race, all live. 1 o'clock, July 4th. Cable Channel 12 and the Iowa Cable Network. Plenty of fireworks.
Strikeout, Clemens. Speaking of the Rocket Man, got his Mets jersey right here. Drafted him in '81. Heard it here first. I know these things. My motto, baseball first, everything else second. Hey, everybody makes a big deal about Jordan. Sorry, Mike. 144 double sports stars have already played in the bigs, including Chuck Connors, the rifleman. Mike, I'll hit this one out for you. Heard it here first. I never miss a game.
Sunday and Wednesday night baseball, only on ESPN.
A wild game in Milwaukee. Andre Dawson gave the Red Sox a lead. Kevin Seitzer tied it at 8, and then Mo Vaughn's moonshot won it 10-8 in the 12th. The Royals got homers from Terry Shumpert and Bob Hamlin. New York ended the Indians' home win streak at 18. The completion of Friday's game. The regular game was rained out. Cal Ripken, a 2-run tie-breaking homer in the 8th to beat the Jays, and 5 A's pitchers held the Tigers to 5 hits. Eck, another save. This week in the majors featured new leases on life for Darryl Strawberry and, yes, Fernando Valenzuela. A tender moment between Marge Schott and Ron Gant, and more home run heroics from the Ruthian, Mantle-esque, Maris-like one, Ken Griffey Jr. Here's Linda Cohn.
Just in case you were napping this week. Check out what you missed this week in Major League Baseball. It was a week of milestones.
Whoa! He decided to challenge him, and that was not a good idea.
No player since the Bambino has ever hit 30 home runs by the end of June, but Ken Griffey Jr. set the new standard on Wednesday, crushing number 31. It came off lefty Brian Anderson at the Big A. Jr. launched number 32 Friday night. He's averaging now a home run every 8.7 at-bats. Friday in Houston, Jeff Bagwell not only homered once in the 6th inning against the Dodgers, he homered again that very same inning, becoming the 28th player in baseball history to homer twice in the same frame. Oh, by the way, Bagwell slammed his 3rd home run of the game in the 8th. 6 RBIs in all in the game for the NL leader. The finish of the week? How about the Tigers trailing the Indians 5-3 Tuesday, bottom of the 9th, bases loaded for Lou Whitaker.
Fly ball deep, right field, might be going back, a grand slam by Whitaker, and the Tigers win it with a rally in the 9th inning. What a win for the Tigers.
There were several players on the move this week. Darryl Strawberry, he's been given another chance, and he's now a Giant. He's expected to be in the Giants lineup by the first week in July. How about another return for Fernando? The Phillies signing Valenzuela on Friday for the remainder of the year. He's slated to start Tuesday against the Marlins. And Ron Gant signed a 2-year deal with Cincinnati. Gant batted .274 last year with 36 homers and 117 RBIs, but he's missed the entire year with a broken leg. Owner Marge Schott gave Gant the red carpet treatment.
You got to get rid of that mustache. There's your thing. And here's some shaving cream.
I didn't think I had that much facial hair.
Here's some shaving cream, honey. Okay?
Clean shave. I'm going to shave it all off here.
And then you have to put on the hat.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you can't go to the dogs. No, we won't do that. Let's see. If you go to the dogs, let's say you're going to be. Not bad. Not bad, but this is a real one.
This is a winner.
It's a doggone winner?
It's a winner.
Here's a real one.
All right.
Does that fit?
Yes, that feels good.
Does it?
Yeah.
You look good.
I think it looks good, too.
That wacky Marge. Next, Robin visits with Martina, who recalls her first memories of watching Wimbledon.
I was 10 years old by then. It was in '66, and I said, oh, I want to walk down that carpet once and pick up that plate. I thought it was a cool thing.
You don't think a car can change your attitude? Watch. Take this guy, give him a probe, lose the sweater, change the hair, voila. Or her. Give her an Escort GT, lose the glasses, make over city, and bingo. Whoa, this guy needs a Ranger bad. Let's do that grunge thing, and off you go. A lot of work here. Definitely Mustang. Lose the pocket protector. Heck, lose the whole outfit. And throw that man a wave. Ford. Serious attitude adjustment.
Hello, I'm hypnotizing you to see what dream prizes you can win in Subway's Dream Game.
Look, it's cash to start your own business. Or win delicious Subway food. Just buy a 22 or 32-ounce soft drink and peel off the sticker.
So wake up and play Subway's Dream Game.
You guys obviously have time in your hands. You ever thought about why Duracell batteries last so long?
It's the great color. It's the copper color. It's
just you mean just sheer aesthetics of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It could be a large amount of research and development.
Duracell. No other battery lasts.
It's never happened, a father-son duo winning PGA and LP or senior PGA events on the same weekend, but Dave Stockton has the lead of the Senior Players Championship. He is in control by 5 strokes over Jim Albus, and Dave Stockton Jr. shares the lead with David Frost at the Greater Hartford Open. The Shark is lurking 1 stroke back. Donna Andrews has a tournament record through 36 holes at the ShopRite LPGA Classic, and she has a 3-stroke lead over Barb Bunkowski. Each time Martina Navratilova takes tennis's ultimate stage, the Wimbledon Center Court, it could be the last time. In the last 2 decades, she's turned the hallowed grass into her personal front lawn. And as her swan song run starts to build some momentum, the 9-time champion visits with Robin Roberts on her memories, both bitter and fond.
Let's talk about Wimbledon a little bit. What is your first memory of Wimbledon?
Well, just reading in the newspapers and then seeing it on TV when I was about 7 or 8 years old, watching Billie Jean King and I think Nancy Ritchie play a match, and then winning the finals. I don't know who she beat. I think it was Maria Bueno, and she got the trophy. And I was 10 years old by then. It was in '66, and I said, oh, I want to walk down that carpet once and pick up that plate. I thought it was a cool thing.
Other than the fact, of course, you've won a record 9 times here, what makes Wimbledon so special for you?
You feel this tennis, you feel it there. You know, you're totally on stage. It's very quiet, unlike the US Open, which has great atmosphere, but it's loud, and here you really are on stage, center stage, when you play on center court. And you never lose a ball because you don't see it. The background is very high, and it's dark green, so you always see the ball, which is Cedric Vallier's ideal. You never lose the ball because, oh, I couldn't see it. You know, sometimes it gets into the sun, but we have to deal with that all the time. But that's the beauty of it. You really feel you're on center stage. It's very quiet, and you always see the ball. Besides the fact that all the greats have played there, you know, that ever played the game.
What's your fondest memory so far?
I don't think I have one. There's too many. Whether it's my first round match here ever or losing, you know, you remember all the losses. I remember the losses better than I remember the wins.
What's been your most disappointing loss?
Probably losing to Steffi in '88. I was up a set and a break, but my legs were shot. I had both hip flexors and groins did not work anymore, and I was amazed at that point that I was winning the match. But I think if I had just believed a little bit more, but my body let me down in that tournament, and I think I would have won if I had stayed healthy. But that one hurt because also at the time people were saying, oh, she's just too old, she can't move anymore. Well, you know, I had pulled muscles, but I didn't tell anybody about it, so I had to swallow it in many ways. But I think if I just thought that I could get over the fact that my body was giving up on me, if I just didn't think about it so much, I could have won the match.
In '88, you talked about how people were trying to retire you. I think even back in 1980, people were trying to kick you out of the game, and here it's '94, and you're leaving on your terms because you say this is when you want to go out. Is it gratifying, the longevity for you?
Surprising, I don't know, gratifying. I'm very grateful that I've had all those years, that my body was able to hang in there, and with a little help from Dr. Stedman and other people. But you know, if you had told me in 1980 I was still going to play in '94, I'd say, hey, what drugs did you take this morning? There's no way. And it's funny that people wrote me off in 1980. I'd had 2 good years, '78, '79, and then I wasn't playing so well in 1980, and I said, oh, she's finished, you know, she's 24 years old, she's over the hill. 14 years later, here I am. Amazing.
Here's the amazing Martina Wimbledon resume. This is just singles title, the record 9 titles. Martina needs to beat Helena Suková to reach the quarterfinals for an amazing 20th consecutive year. When we continue, a variety of opinions. Who is the real OJ? The man whose record he broke says he knows.
I wrote about him in my book very honestly. I said basically he was a phony. And he accepted that, came to my book opening in New York, and we laughed about it.
In business, there never seems to be enough of it. And the last thing you can afford to do is run out of it. Time. So rest assured, Delta Airlines will help you make the most of it. With over 4,900 flights a day to over 300 cities around the world. And best of all, we'll make sure you arrive relaxed and refreshed with plenty of time to spare. Delta Airlines.
The road leading to Wendy's next great chicken sandwich is a hard one. Fraught with disappointments and dead ends. But when you're Dave Thomas and you're starting with Wendy's whole breast filet, you don't give up.
I think I'm onto something.
Introducing Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme, an all-white meat filet, mozzarella, and a creamy Parmesan sauce. One bite and you'll jump up and say,
gee, this is pretty good.
Exactly. Come try one today.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
As O.J. Simpson sits behind bars awaiting the first stages of his trial for murder, a more complete picture of the man is emerging. Not just the Hall of Famer, the smiling endorser, but the media manipulator, the abuser of women, and according to Jim Brown, among others, cocaine. Andrea Kramer explored the question on a lot of minds these days. Who is O.J. Simpson?
It's amazing how sometimes you can know someone but not know a lot about them other than one perspective.
Having a public persona means that we don't know the person completely.
This man seemed to have everything, a wonderful life, but you really can't peer into people's psyches.
It's irrelevant on how you are viewed. It is only relevant on how you are. So this is the whole crux of what we're dealing with. We're talking about how O.J. is viewed, but the question should always be, who is O.J.?
He was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1968, the #1 pick in the NFL draft in '69, and he set an NFL single-season rushing record in 1973. The man once nicknamed Pencil Pins for his skinny bow legs was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985. But his fame outlived his playing career as he blazed the trail for black athletes in the commercial and entertainment fields. Juice's personality glowed as brightly as his accomplishments.
The O.J. I know, one of the most decent human beings you could possibly come across.
He's an individual that has meant a lot to a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons why people don't want to believe that he's involved, because so many people like him.
He knew what people liked and was able to turn it to his advantage and to his profit.
He knew that in order for him to make the big money and represent the product, that he had to present that image, even though the image was not necessarily who he was.
O.J. Simpson seemed to have really developed to a fine science, being the clean-cut, successful superhero. And so for him, I'm sure that the pressure was even harder in terms of his public image and facade.
We have a laugh behind the scenes because I wrote about in my book very honestly. I said basically he was a phony. And he accepted that, came to my book opening in New York, and we laughed about it. And what he said to me was, you know, Jim, you're not going to ever make no money because you're an activist and you're too controversial. I know how to play the game and make a lot of money, but hey, that's what I'm going to do.
How hard did O.J. work at his image?
Oh, very much. The man knew what people thought of him. But we always thought that he was more in control of his ego than his ego in control of him.
Despite his public persona, O.J. could and did lose control. Few acknowledged and accepted that Simpson had another side, in direct contrast to his carefully cultivated image. The polished hero did have some jagged edges.
There's no dark side. There was no hint of a dark side until 5 years ago on New Year's Eve when Nicole called the cops and had him arrested for spousal abuse.
On New Year's Day, 1989, Los Angeles police responded to a 911 call at the Simpson residence. They found an hysterical Nicole Simpson described as badly beaten with a cut lip, swollen and blackened left eye and cheek. Mrs. Simpson told police O.J. had slapped her with both open and closed fists, kicked her with his feet, and pulled her hair. Nicole Simpson also stated that O.J. yelled, "I'll kill you." O.J. pleaded no contest to misdemeanor spousal battery, received no jail time, paid a minimal fine, and was treated by a psychiatrist of his choice, over the phone. Even after the couple's 1992 divorce, police said 911 calls from Mrs. Simpson about her ex-husband were an ongoing problem.
This may have been public information that he beat his wife, but the public really didn't know it. And as we can see, a lot of the public didn't want to know any of the dark side.
Simpson also failed to confront the reality of his violent behavior. Take, for example, a conversation he had on the golf course a short time after the New Year's Day incident.
He says, I guess you all know that that I had a problem with Nicole, New Year's Eve and so forth and so on. And he said that it really was blown out of proportion. And it wasn't as bad as I was pictured.
Obviously, it bothered my whole family. I mean, the day after this was over, we looked at each other and said, we had a fight. We were both guilty. No one was hurt. It was no big deal, and we got on with our life. It was embarrassing, but because our relationship was strong and all our friends knew it, and they knew what they were reading wasn't necessarily the truth, hey, we just tried to put it behind us and ignore it as much as we could.
While Simpson's history of domestic violence has been widely reported, an alleged drug problem has not. Sources told ESPN Simpson has used cocaine for years, dating back to his playing days in Buffalo. In addition, a number of people confirmed the problem continues, as Jim Brown told ABC News.
Of course, it's known that the Juice have dealt with cocaine. I mean, what America says, Jim, how can you say that? I'm revealing something that's out there. I'm not a snitch, an informer. But the truth shall prevail, Of course, there were problems with drugs with O.J. And why shouldn't I say it now? And it's not like putting him in any fix. I don't bother anybody's life. I don't try to do that. But I got to sit here and say there are a lot of people that's being affected.
In the letter Simpson's friend shared with the media, the accused murderer wrote, "Please think of the real O.J. and not this lost person," leaving the world to wonder, who is the real Orenthal James Simpson? In Los Angeles, I'm Andrea Kramer, ESPN.
In a few minutes, as you might imagine, the sports reporters will have more to say on this topic. Who is the real O.J. Simpson? And then later this morning on SportsCenter, a live report from Mark Schwartz on the latest developments in the case, and also some conversations Simpson had with Roy Firestone back in '89, which will be very revealing. Plus, a preview of the U.S.-Romania World Cup game, highlights of World Cup, and a look at Tony Meola, keeper extraordinaire. That plus Joe Carter. That's in a half hour. The sports reporters are next.